Alright, so I know I'm a bit late to this. I would not recommend pulling for the characters yet until after you get all 10 passes from the login, and until you've gotten every single pull you can from Phase 1 slash Phase 2, if you're pulling in Phase 2, but not in Phase 1. Anyway, too long didn't watch. I do recommend Finan, but if you have Yunlei slash Clara, I wouldn't as much, but if you do like the character, I would recommend picking him up. For reruns, I do recommend Tribby, but second. If you don't have Sparkle, I would recommend picking her up. I would not recommend picking up Sunday unless if you plan on getting his E2 and his S1, because unfortunately, Sunday isn't as good as Sparkle is. Yes, Sunday advances forward by 100%, not 50. However, the skill point gain that Sparkle gives is much better than Sunday, and in order for Sunday to be comparable to Sparkle in the skill point refresh department, he needs his E2 and his light cone, whereas Sparkle is just good without her light cone. Like, even without her light cone, Sparkle is very good. Tribby is mostly used in dual DPS comps slash comps where every single unit attacks and isn't just a buffer or just prioritize buffing one unit or multiple units. So that's why I recommend her second. I recommend Sunday the least for reasons I just explained. For the rerun characters, Firefly is a very good fire break DPS that can attack all three enemies. She is a bit tricky, and she kind of needs Rowan May, but you can still very much use Harmony Trailblazer. Excuse me. Blade is very good still, but I wouldn't really recommend him at all in this day and age because there are just much better units. Not only that, but Saber is coming, and I don't know if Saber is as strong, if not stronger than Blade, so that remains to be seen. Kafka, I would only recommend if you're a diehard Dot fan, if you like her character, slash you have plans on pulling for Black Swan or the newest Nihility character. I don't know which one it is. I think it's Hycillin? I think that's the Nihility? I don't remember. I'll put a picture up on screen of who she is. For Phase 2, obviously during Phase 1, we are getting Archer for free and Saber. Saber, I would only recommend if you're a Fate fan. However, I would say hold that thought. Don't pull for the character until you know for a fact you are going to pull for that character, and until you have guaranteed. We don't know when their banners are going to end, there being Saber and Archer. But I would save and just keep an eye out for future updates and what banners they have. But would have recommend Saber. If you have Blade, possibly. If you don't, if you're not a fan of Fate, I wouldn't recommend her. But if you are a fan of Fate, I would. Archer, I'm not going to recommend him because we're getting him for free. And I think that about covers it. So, like I said, when it comes to the Fate collab, I personally would wait until after we know who the next characters are and save for them. It's incredibly scummy that we have to have 200 pulls to get the light cone, Archer's light cone. You may as well just summon on his banner, or summon on the light cone banner. It's a 75-25. Chances are you're going to get the light cone. But anyway, I digress. So, in order, Finon, if you don't have Yunlei, slash you like his character and his animations, then Sparkle, if you don't have her, then Tribby. I would say Firefly next in priority. Then Kafka, then Blade, then Sunday. Now, obviously, Firefly, Kafka, and Blade are in Phase 2, but I digress. So, in depth, obviously I don't have Sunday or Tribune, but that doesn't make my opinion any less invalid. Star Rail Station is free. It's anyone can see the information right there, then and there, and it doesn't take a genius to put two and two together. The other thing with Sparkle versus Sunday is her talent. While Sparkle is on the battlefield, additionally increases the max number of skill points by 2, which means it goes up from 5 to 7. Whenever an ally consumes a skill point, all allies' damage dealt increases by 6%. This effect lasts for 2 turns and can stack up to 3 times. Not only that, but she recovers 4 skill points for the team. Whereas Sunday at base value, only grants 1 skill point so long as you used his ult. So, that is why I recommend Sparkle overall, especially for a very skill point hungry team. Yes, he does give energy, which is very good, but again, Sparkle is much better because her skill point refresh gain is much better than Sunday's, unless if Sunday's at E2 S1. But most likely, or most players aren't going to have that unless if they're either Lightspenders or Whales. But that is what I personally recommend. What I'm personally going to be doing, I'm going to be waiting until I have my 10, and then I'm going to continue to be waiting for Adventure Rain, maybe Hyacine, just so I can use Blade, because Blade was my first 5-star, well, limited 5-star. I'm also going to be waiting for Rappa as well, because unfortunately, all endgame modes are now prioritizing Erudition and not fucking Destruction or Hunt. Now, granted, Apex Shadow sometimes, on occasion, will have enemies or bosses that do want you to use Hunt. But most cases, not anymore. Even though Apex Shadow is the Hunt game mode, which sucks. But anyway, for the rerun characters, I would highly recommend Sparkle, and everyone else, only if you like the character. I would not recommend picking up Sunday, though. But that's just me.